Hello and welcome. You're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live interactive web television. This is your very own platform where you can talk to us, communicate with us, engage with us on the different issues that we discuss. If you have any issue that you want to discuss with us and you want us to discuss in the studio, please write into us as well. You can send us your posts. You can send us your video comments on the issues that we talk about. You can write into us your tweets at #IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. Well, yesterday you will remember we talked about Narendra Modi's address to the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. We discussed the K word, the issue of Kashmir that Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had brought up, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's response to that. Today we are going to do the overall picture. You know, we're going to talk about the visit of the new Prime Minister to US, a country that had once shunned him. Remember, a very, very important visit. Of course, the Indian media going gaga over it, but we are going to try to do a little analysis. I am joined online by Mr. Sanjeev Singh. He is the national co-convener of the IT cell of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Sir, thank you so much for talking to India Post Live.
My pleasure.
Thanks. So before we start, let me first take you through some of the highlights, of his visit. Let's take a look at that coming up on your screens. I'll read that out for you as well, and then we'll discuss it. All right, there we have. Okay, this is regarding his speech at Madison Square. We have given importance to skill development. We created a separate ministry for it. We are focusing on skill development, and we started the Jan Dhan Yojana. We will start zero balance accounts, but people started it with a sum of 1,500 crore. I invite you to come make in India. If you want human resources and low-cost production, India is your destination. I invite you to the Make in India initiative. The earlier government spoke only of what laws they have made. I have begun removing obsolete laws. The more laws we get rid of, the better it will be for us. People may wonder whether this is the Prime Minister's duty, but I have decided to construct toilets in the country. Cleaning the Ganga is not only for religious reasons, it is also to tackle climate problems. Mahatma Gandhi never compromised on cleanliness. He gave us freedom. We should give him Clean India. In 2022, it will be 75 years of our independence. It is an important landmark in Indian culture. I have a dream that by 2022, there should be no one in India without a roof over his head. Okay, those were some of the salient points that he talked about. We will, of course, bring in more issues as well. Sanjeev, sir, let me ask you, of course, that was the very, very important speech at Madison Square Garden. 20,000 NRIs, people of Indian origin, were there, and they cheered at every statement, every sentence that the new Prime Minister made, and he really struck a chord with them. And the popularity quotient was there for everyone to see. He floored everyone, literally. What would you think was the core sentiment of that speech that he made?
Elangela, if you look at it, Prime Minister Modi has been completely, totally, and absolutely impressive in his visit to US. Never before has an Indian Prime Minister been accorded such warm welcome. He has been received with absolute enthusiasm. If you were in New York on that day, I was told, New York streets were chock-a-block with Indians. Hotel rooms were exhausted. If you visited any restaurant, it was about India, Indians, and Narendra Modi. So that is the kind of reception, that is the kind of enthusiasm, that is the kind of welcome which he has got. And he doesn't disappoint anyone. If you look at his Madison Square speech, he has covered almost everything, right from the Mars mission to, as you rightly mentioned, to taking care of some of the basic needs of India, which have still not been taken care of, despite more than 65 years having passed since we became independent. So he has not left any of those things, and he has gone about, you know, discussing, motivating people in his own inimitable style, which has become a hallmark till now. So if you look at his speech, it has been full of substance, full of motivation, full of thought-provoking kind of stuff was there in his speech. It has been a completely, totally, it's a brilliant speech. That is how I'll term that as.
You know, the people of Indian origin, I mean, I'm obviously, you know, since we are having a conversation, I'm going to try and play devil's advocate. Do you think the people of Indian origin who are settled there, do you think they can actually do something for India? Do you think they have it in them to do something? Or because, you know, I have friends who are in US, people who were in school with me and did their engineering and went away, you know, the brain drain as we call it. And they are like, they don't want to come back. They are like, you know, no, we are very happy here. Life is better here. Everything is more organized here. Do you really think Mr. Modi's address, I'm talking of the larger picture, will inspire people to come back and do something for the people here? For example, he talked of the cleanliness. He talked of building toilets. Do you think people will actually come back and, you know, become entrepreneurs to serve India?
Excellent question to ask. So Neelangela, as you said, half of even my classmates are in US, you know, and there has been a splurge in interest in those classmates of mine in particular, and Indian community in America in general. You know, if you look at WhatsApp, the kind of WhatsApp group which have got created, you know, they are longing to be, kept abreast of what all is happening in India. Right. There is a renewed interest there. You know, I'll just narrate a small thing. Sure. I remember a certain journalist, TV journalist from Indian media, asking people who had gathered at Times Square whether you are willing to come back to India. And you know, if the question was posed to 10 people, 9 of those people were willing to come back, to come back in India, provided the system, the infrastructure, the right kind of environment is created for them, for their entrepreneurial abilities. So what Prime Minister Modi has committed is that he has clearly elucidated that there is going to be a red carpet for them instead of the typical infamous bureaucratic red tape. So it's red carpet now. Yeah. Similarly, as you mentioned, when he talks about eliminating rules, laws, you know, superfluous procedures, obsolete which have become a hallmark, obsolete, stuff, which has become a hallmark till now of our, way of operating. He has tried to strike the right chord. What he's gone about, you know, in a single statement emphasizing is that whatever plagues you, whatever dissuades you, we are here and willing, proactively willing and to hear you and to eliminate those things. We want you to come back. We want you to, even if you're not coming back, you know, if you remember, he mentioned, he gave a very simple statement, you know, if there is a 30 lakh odd Indians who are there in US. If every Indian was to convince, let's say 5 American families to come to India, and he is doing his bit in, you know, creating that renewed interest in India. So if those families can come to India, just imagine the kind of boost it will give to our tourism. You know, so that kind of thing is there. So there is a renewed interest which is there. I get to, I'm getting a lot of phone calls from my classmates, which people who used to call me, say, once in a year kind of a thing, or on festivals, they are calling up, you know, once in a month kind of a thing. So that's a clear renewed interest which is there. And they are seriously committing to invest in India.
Okay, so you don't think it's too much of expectation from one man? I mean, that's kind of the feeling I got, you know, it's like the whole country and even the NRIs, it's like they're all looking up to one man to perform a miracle. Don't you think that's a horrible pressure on him?
No, it is not. It is not a one-man. Narendra Bhai is actually symbolizing what India and Indian talent and Indian capabilities are. It is India, the country. You know, when you talk about Mars mission, it was not Narendra Modi who designed that Mars vehicle. It was ISRO, the scientist at ISRO. So what he is doing is he is actually becoming the face who is marketing India and marketing India, in the right kind of manner. You know.
All right. Yeah. Let me bring in Vinayak Dutt now. Vinayak is my colleague in India Post Live, and I'm sure he has some questions that he would like to ask you, Sanjeev sir. But Vinayak, first let me quickly brief you on what Sanjeev ji said. He said that Narendra Modi is the face of the new India, and he is the face that is marketing India for what it is, for what it stands for, culturally and in terms of its path towards progress and development. And Mr. Sanjeev also said that there is definitely a renewed interest in India among Indians living in the United States, even if it's for many generations. So Vinayak, you heard the speech at Madison Square Garden too, didn't you? We all heard it. We were all glued to our television sets.
Heard the speech, and what I believe is, like, Narendra Modi is a good speaker. He has a good track record for that. But my only question is, will he be able to walk the, because he speaks so many of things, many he was not being able to fulfill, but since he has a very good perception, people have a very good perception about him because of media or because of some other reasons. We have to see. I cannot take all what he said on the face value.
Okay. Sanjeev ji, would you like to respond to that? Apprehensive, skeptical, a bit of skepticism there from Vinayak?
It is always welcome, a bit of see, there is a road kahavat, nindak nere rakhi angani koti badhai. So we are always open, all ears to, our critics, because that is where we get to know what our weak points are, where we are lacking. So we have that intention to, come over that. See, what I'll say is, if you look at Narendra Bhai's track record of, progress, of development, of, solving complicated things in a very simple fashion, and if you look at the 100-odd days which we have been in power, there is so much which is happening. Bureaucrats are working more than 12 hours a day, something which was, unheard of during past 10-15 odd years. So, they have surrendered their golf club membership. They are, steadfast. They are putting in more than 12 hours. So all this is going to bring that desired change, which will enthuse people. And, as I said, proof of pudding is in eating. Yeah. So there are a lot of things which are coming over, right. the kind of policy changes which are there, the kind of intention which is clearly demonstrated. So all that is going to, add up slowly over a period of time.
All right. Regarding development, the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, also, in fact, raised the issue, raised Mahatma Gandhi and his ideology and equated it to how he would be actually using the father of the nation's ideology to bring about development for the nation. And let's take a quick look at that excerpt from his speech.
Mahatma Gandhi ji ne आजादी को जन आंदोलन बना दिया। कोई खादी पहनता है तो आजादी के लिए पहनता है, कोई किसी बच्चे को पढ़ाता है तो आजादी के लिए पढ़ाता है। आजादी का आंदोलन एक जन आंदोलन था, वैसे ही विकास ये जन आंदोलन बनना जरूरी है। हिंदुस्तान के 125 करोड़ देशवासियों को लगना चाहिए कि मैं बच्चों को अच्छी तरह शिक्षा देता हूं, मैं भले शिक्षक हूं, मैं देश की सेवा कर रहा हूं, मैं प्रधानमंत्री से भी अच्छा काम कर रहा हूं।
So, development should become a Jan Andolan or a people's movement, just as Mahatma Gandhi had used Jan Andolan to bring about freedom of the nation. That is what Mr. Modi is saying. Sir, Sanjeev ji, there has been a stagnation in investment since 2010. And it is very obvious that Mr. Modi had a huge support of the NRI community in these elections. In fact, I spoke to many of them on this very show, and everybody said that, the fact that there was, we want quick decisions to be made. We don't want any stagnation in decision making. We want quick decisions to be made. And obviously, India Incorporated, India Inc. is kind of extremely positive and optimistic about it. Now, do you think this particular visit of Mr. Modi to the United States, how do you think this would bolster investments into the country?
So, if you remember, Modi ji emphasized on the 3 Ds, demography, demand, and the third D was also there. So
democracy.
Democracy, yes.
Democracy,
yes,
demography. Yeah.
Yes, the largest democracy, and also we have that very interesting this thing also. The earliest known democracy across world was Vaishali Ganarajya. If you look at Vedic, Sabha, concept of Sabhas and Samitis, it was equivalent to our modern day Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So we have been, democracy since inception. Anyway, culturally we have a democratic thought process, and culturally again we have that entrepreneurial skill. I was going through the statistics, till about 200 years back, India's GDP used to be something like 25 to 30% of world economy. So we can achieve that again. That is the kind of skills which we Indians possess. And, invoking Gandhi. In today's world, when you have got conflicts all around the world, go to Europe, there are conflicts. Go to Middle East, it's a conflict hot zone. Go to any part of world. So that is where, when he mentions about Gandhi, again, Gandhi was one of the earliest proponents of Made in India when he, did that Hathkarga thing himself. So anyway, if you look at Gandhi, when he invokes Gandhi, he's actually answering the way we should be moving forward, the kind of thought process which we should have, the kind of mindset which we should have to get rid of all this conflict which is plaguing world all throughout. So that is another part of it. And as we say, largest democracy, biggest demographic, youngest population, big market, the largest middle class. So all this combined, if we start doing it, just before embarking on the US trip, he has unveiled that Make in India concept. So that is again, and while if you remember that Make in India concept speech, he clearly mentioned that we are going to do away with almost everything which creates hassles in front of an honest entrepreneur. Your capital will be safe. You will be able to earn decent money. All this combined goes to create the right kind of environment.
Vinayak, I would now like to, ask Vinayak if he has any comment to make on what Sanjeev sir said.
I just wanted to thing he mentioned about Vaishali Ganarajya. I just wanted to say, like, Vaishali had to surrender to Shakya Rajya Janpad. Shakya was a hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Vinayak. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shakya Rajpad was a regime that was headed by a monarch, and he made the Vaishali Ganarajya submitted to him just because he thought that the collective decision making will do no good for any regime. So that has been the tendency of Mr. Modi. If we just relate this thing to his recent past, like all his ministers are accountable to this one person, and the way he presides over his cabinet meetings and the way he decides the agenda for all the ministries. Yes, I do agree, Mr. Modi is a very good communicator. He speaks really well. He uses his knowledge about the vocabulary, and the way he speaks, he convinced the audience what he wanted to say. But my only question is, he speaks a bit too much. Will he be able to meet what all he said?
Will he be able to deliver? That's what you're saying. One thing is your Sanjeev sir, he's asking whether he will be able to deliver, and second, there is an impression that is there that he's autocratic and he's turning this into a one-man show. That is what Vinayak is asking. So
if our ministers are so occupied in building Shresth Bharat that they are working 12 to 15 hours a day, steadfastly focused on things which are expected of a minister, how to work in their ministry, how to bring about that change. So if that kind of an impression is going that they are not responsive, they're not interacting with people, every day for 2 hours, a minister takes turns to sit at Ashok Road, which is our BJP office at Delhi, to listen to people's grievances, to get a first-hand experience of what is, what are the problems which are there. So that is responsive government. Again, talking about the delivery part, all his critics, whatever his critics may criticize Narendra Bhai for on all counts, but nobody has faulted him on delivery. The kind of track record which he has in Gujarat, ambitious schemes. You look at the solar implementation. If you look at the kind of industrialization which has taken place in Gujarat, if you look at the kind of electricity problem, the way it has been solved.
Can the Gujarat model be replicated throughout the country, sir? I mean, is it that easy? Again, like we said, the demographics, every state, every region has its own problem, its own culture, its own issues. Do you think the Gujarat model can actually be replicated the way it has happened in Gujarat?
Isn't Gujarat part of India? And isn't Gujaratis Indians? See, the same. There is no difference so far as the people are concerned. People of Uttar Pradesh are almost equal in terms of being similarly endowed with the brain power, with the ability to put in hard work, all those things. What is lacking is the right kind of government at the helms, with the right kind of leader, a well-intentioned, capable person who has vision and the commitment to get that vision fructified. That is what is lacking. So our government at center is actually galvanizing various state governments, including the governments, of other parties. We are trying to do their work from our volition proactively, and we will ensure that almost every state is able to derive benefit out of this transformation, this change which has happened in India and which is continuously happening.
A very, very positive and optimistic Sanjeev Singh there, talking to us about the fact that he's 100% sure that Mr. Modi will deliver on whatever he's talking about. And this is what Mr. Modi had to say regarding the successful Mars Orbiter mission that happened on the 24th of September.
अहमदाबाद में 1 किलोमीटर ऑटो रिक्शा में जाना है तो 10 रुपया लगता है, हमें मार्स पर पहुंचने में सिर्फ 7 रुपया लगा 1 किलोमीटर का। दुनिया में हिंदुस्तान पहला देश है जो पहले ही प्रयास में मार्स पर पहुंचने में सफल हुआ। और अमेरिका और भारत नीचे ही बात कर रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं है, मार्स में भी बात कर रहे हैं। 22 तारीख को अमेरिका पहुंचा, 24 को हम पहुंच गए। और इतना ही नहीं, हॉलीवुड की फिल्म बनाने का जितना बजट होता है उससे कम बजट में मार्स पहुंच गया।
Vinayak, definitely Mars, the success of the Mars Orbiter mission was huge for India. It's the first country in the world to succeed on its maiden mission. There were 51 other attempts, and India was the only country which succeeded in its maiden mission to put the MOM in the orbit. Now, what do you think about Mr. Modi's speech regarding Mars? What is your reaction?
If at all Mars mission was successful, the credit goes to the ISRO, one, and to the previous regime who made the arrangements that, see, India does not have the GSLV launchers. We are sending up satellites to the space through PSLV, and it's the our technical people who are working. Hello? Yeah,
I can hear you.
The credit goes to our technical people who are working, who are doing the things in a way. So they made that Mars mission successful, I guess.
So are you okay, Sanjeev sir?
It would be wrong at the part of Mr. Modi to take that entire credit on himself.
Okay, Sanjeev sir.
हमने 7 किलोमीटर में भेजा. See, it was a UPA government.
All right, okay, Vinayak, we got you. Do you think Mr. Narendra Modi has taken undue credit for Mars because for the success of the MOM, because it was the UPA who facilitated and ISRO who actually did it? The slingshot slingshot technology that was used to propel MOM into Mars's orbit.
See, firstly, it's a collective effort. As Vinayak bhai rightly said, the biggest credit should go to our scientists at ISRO who have actually made it happen. But look at how Modi ji marketed that success to showcase the talent which exists in India, to get the world audience to have a look at that part. When he symbolized that 7 rupee a kilometer for a high technology, a high funda, sophisticated Mars mission.
Right.
So he was actually emphasizing on the frugal engineering skills which are available in India. So that, in a sense, was actually, again instilling that confidence in people whom he wants to invest in India, that we possess such excellent, frugal engineering skills here in India. Come invest, and you will be able to reap benefit out of it.
So once again, you're saying that he marketed it, he became the face of the collective efforts of the UPA as well as ISRO, but what he was actually doing was marketing the success of India's science. That's what you're saying.
To enthuse people to come, to understand, appreciate the skill set which is there, the possibilities which are there, the potential which exists in India, and come and invest and make in India.
All right.
That was the objective.
All right. And Mr. Narendra Modi's larger vision for a 21st century Asia. He did talk about development. He talked about sustainable development. Of course, he talked about that at UNGA as well. And he talked of a 21st century Asia that we need to all think about. And this is what he had to say.
अमेरिका के भी गणमान्य राजनेताओं ने पब्लिकली ये कहा है कि 21वीं सदी, कोई कहता है एशिया की सदी है, कोई कहता है हिंदुस्तान की सदी है। और ये ऐसे ही नहीं कहा जाता। भारत के पास वो सामर्थ्य है, वो संभावनाएं हैं, और अब
Okay, as you all saw over there, the crowd going positively delirious at Mr. Narendra Modi's speech. Definitely he floored them. Definitely he made them feel good about being Indians even if they live in the United States. All right. So whether it's a 21st century Asia, whether 21st century belongs to Asia or 21st century belongs to India, that is the question. Sir, once again, I'm just going to ask you, do you not think that Mr. Modi has a humongous task ahead of him? The biggest expectation that people had when he came to power, the first thing that people talked about, चीज़ों के दाम कम हो जाएंगे. There was the price rise that was happening, inflation that was happening. That hasn't happened yet. It's been more than 100 days. We haven't really seen a drastic change when it comes to price rise, or don't you think it's a humongous task? A country of so many, 125 crores. Don't you think it's huge what he has ahead? And this kind of positivity, this kind of enthusiasm, do you think it will last? Once the challenges keep coming up, once the challenges keep mounting?
See, we are absolutely clear about it. There are no two ways. Like the task which is there in front of us is humongous. You have rightly, put it like that. 65 years of misrule, not going in the right way, the way which, harnesses potential of Indians. If you, as I said, if you look at the statistics of earlier centuries, India and China both combined used to have more than 50% of world economy as their GDP. Now, when he talks about the next century, the current century being of Asia, he says we want to replicate the same thing. Where India and China has already achieved that to some degree. They have already done that, and it clearly shows. I'll just narrate a very small thing. If you look at Indian diaspora across the world, go to any European country, go to America, Indians as a demographic group are the best in terms of having the highest per capita income, getting the right kind of good citizen award. So that is the capability which is there in Indians. If Indians compete with Chinese in US, they come up trumps. So what is lacking in India is the right kind of system, the right kind of approach, the right kind of environment. The moment system starts working for Indians in India, it will not take more than 20 years for us to surpass China. Take it from me. And that is what Narendra Bhai is actually steadfastly committed on. And as you said, the task or the challenge is humongous. But in Narendra Bhai and BJP, we are equal to that to that challenge.
All right. I would like to bring in Vinayak here, but also I would like to just point out that the 65 years of misrule that you said also included Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's, tenure as Prime Minister, where...
Good that you mentioned that. If you look at those 6 years, there were so many things which happened. India became a nuclear power during those days. India came out with the Electricity Act 2003, which subsequently didn't get implemented. Had it been implemented and followed up properly, probably we would have become an electricity surplus country by now. We did that roads project. Something which was unthought for till that time. So that was a trailer of what we can do. The real picture has commenced now.
All right, Vinayak, very quickly your comments, and then we'll see what social media has to say.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, Mr. Vajpayee gave the approval for Chandrayaan and not Mangalyaan. If my BJP friend is just mistaking it with that.
Okay, no, we are talking of, the question I was asking was, don't you think it's a huge task, a humongous task ahead? And the positive spirit that is kind of emanating from all Mr. Modi's speeches, do you think that will really translate to the ground is what I was asking Mr. Sanjeev, and he said it will. Vajpayee's rule was only a trailer and the real picture is emerging now.
See, I have serious doubt about Mr. Modi's vision because, see, I agree with him. Yes, I give him some points. He may score on the development agenda. He may bring investment to this country, but we have also take to account when we are evaluating his government that the communal tensions that have come up, the riots, around 150 riots that BJP themselves, the guys from the BJP themselves, they accept that around 150 riots have taken place. Yes, Mr. Modi will bring the money and will tame down that inflation, but will he be able to ensure the all-round development for the society? Because just by saying Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas does not make it.
All right. Sanjeev sir, very quickly, if you can respond on the communal violence issue, then we will have to wrap up the show. Yeah.
Nilanjala ji, if you look at our record, the BJP ruled state government's record, including in recent times and right since when various governments came to power, ours has been a virtually riot-free, blemish-free record across all the states which we have ruled. And these 160 riots which Vinayak Bhai was referring to, each of those have happened in either Congress or SP, any non-BJP run states. So that again is has a message in it, which is when BJP comes to power, it creates the right kind of environment, not only on law and order thing, also on governance. So that is where this becomes important. Our record has been blemish-free. In our ruled states, there are no riots. So when we were there in Uttar Pradesh also, there weren't any riots. And that when people, point a finger to us, that it is because BJP is in opposition, it is creating all these riot-like situation, and we are the ones who are communally polarizing people in Uttar Pradesh. We were in opposition when BSP was ruling also, so it cannot be blamed on us. It is the party in power in Uttar Pradesh which is actually responsible to polarize people, which is actually responsible to create that subtle motivation for these riots to happen.
So this debate will of course go on and on and on. This is not something which, in fact, I do wish, sir, that we had somebody from the Congress to kind of counter you. But unfortunately, we were not, nobody from the Congress party could join us, unfortunately. But anyway, okay, so very, very upbeat there. Mr. Sanjeev Singh, national co-convener of BJP's IT cell. Good things waiting for India to happen. And also the NRIs, judging from the response of those 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden. Of course, his meetings with President Barack Obama are being keenly awaited. He is also directly meeting the people of the private sector directly for winning investments. We have to see where that goes and what really happens, how it translates on the ground level. So definitely upbeat, but also lots of question marks, lots of skepticism there. But what do you have to say about that? Please let us know. But before we wrap up the show, a series of tweets that are doing the rounds on social media regarding Mr. Modi's visit to the US. Let's take a quick look at that. I'm sure Modi will tell Americans, just as you have Statue of Liberty, we also have Statue of Unity, says Vinod Mehta. Kabir Bedi loved Narendra Modi's reply when asked his vision. Bhai, main to yahan chai bechte aaya hoon. Okay, Kabir Bedi being very optimistic. Shahnawaz Hussain, Indians all over the world strongly believe that Narendra Modi ji will make India into a country of their dreams. Anandiben Patel, feel privileged to join Mr. Modi at inviting one and all to Ahmedabad for centenary celebration of Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Kunal Kohli, oof, what a speech. Mr. Modi is the most enigmatic and powerful leader amongst all world leaders today. Sudhindra Kulkarni, great initiative, lifetime visa for PIO card holders. This will strengthen PIO, that's people of Indian origins, emotional bond with Mother India. Anand Mahindra, after the huge success of Modi at Madison, looking forward to seeing how the PM's received by a small group of US political and business elite. Derek O'Brien, read the drool in most Desi papers, not a word about protesters lining New York streets or a senior journo heckled or tacky performers. मैं हूँ modified आदमी. All right, so those are some of the reactions on social media doing the rounds. Of course, some skepticism there. Yes, there were people protesting against the carnage at Gujarat. There were people, who were against. And of course, we all know the story of how one of our senior colleagues was heckled outside by loyalists of Mr. Narendra Modi. But of course, the larger picture is yet to emerge, and we shall be keenly following what happens, how it translates at the ground level. As I told you, there's been a stagnation in relations since 2010. In fact, also the civil nuclear treaty, a lot of roadblocks were hit. Even those issues need to be sorted out. Energy cooperation needs to be sorted out. Business, whether Mr. Modi will be able to bring in business from US or not is yet to be seen. We are all keenly following, and I look forward to your tweets, your video responses and your comments on India Post Live. Sanjeev ji, thank you so much for joining us and giving us the BJP's perspective on his speech. Thank you so much, and thank you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.